Nottingham Forest. You know, a few years ago, if I said that name, they would literally be non-existent. Like, prior to the 2022-23 season, Forest hadn't played in the Premier League for 23 years. Now, even since their initial arrival in the Premier League in 2022, they've been quite awful. In their first season, back in the 2022-23 season, Forest finished 16th, and a year later, in the 23-24 season, they were even worse, finishing 17th, barely missing relegation. But you know, despite these poor performances, people could definitely tell something was different about Forest this season in the Premier League. And to show you this, I'm going to show a chart that shows the transfer spendings in the last 3 seasons in the Premier League. Alright, so towards the bottom here, between 150 and 250 million, we have clubs like Everton, Leicester City, Crystal Palace. And as we go up the ladder, we see better clubs like Liverpool, Wolves, Newcastle, all between 350 and 400 million. However, sitting at £431 million spent on transfers in the last 3 seasons is Nottingham Forest. Jeez. And I think the most obvious reason to why Forest had to spend so much money is because their team, when they first arrived in the Premier League a few years ago, was largely made up of loan players. I mean, a few include James Gardner, Max Lowe, Keenan Davis, DJ Spence, just to name a few. But you know, with this being said, it is important to realize that they're still buying an insane amount of players. Like 2 seasons ago, they bought 29 players, and the season after that, they bought 17. And I guess this effort of mass buying players allowed them to pick up key players like Chris Wood, Anthony Elanga, and Hudson-Odoi. And I think there's definitely a strategy in this madness. You know, they're picking players like Elanga, like Hudson-Odoi, who come from big clubs like Man United and Chelsea. And you know, at these clubs, they might not have got starting time, might have been on the bench, so they couldn't have played up to their full potential. So Forest have really preyed on this and enhanced their potential by giving them the opportunities that they weren't given at other clubs. And of course, a compliment goes to Forest's coaching and defense strategy and such and such. And this is truly a testament to why Forest is performing so well. They're not really going for these top tier players, and they're not going for these bottom tier players. They're going for players who haven't really been given a chance, but they've showed potential in the past. And of course, largely because of this, Forest is now like 3rd on the table, and they keep winning games, and they could definitely win the Premier League trophy.